And so it's a really good relationship between our relatives there, and they like us. They know us, and we know them. Um, but when I went there, I couldn't really speak a word. I could say a few things, but like nothing. Then I went to an intensive like 5 weeks, and they taught us how to speak Norwegian like 5 weeks, and then threw us into classes in Norwegian. But I think I learned it because I wanted to be able to speak to my grandmother in her native language. I wanted to be able to speak with my mom. Uh, it's not a lot of people know the language, so it's pretty safe to speak around. And my mom's half Italian, so we always like she likes to trash talk people. If we're in a restaurant, she'll just start talking about, I don't know, if somebody's too loud next to us. She'll just go over to me and start saying stuff about them, and it's funny because you wouldn't expect it from her. She just looks like this nice little blonde Norwegian lady, but she's really Italian. Um, uh, I think I wanted to learn one language of my ancestors at least, and I don't know. My grandmother has dementia, and so I knew that eventually she'll forget English, so I might as well know Norwegian so I can at least speak that with her when it eventually gets there. Also, like most, I was only like I could only really speak English growing up. Like I tried to learn Spanish a couple times and didn't really stick. So I'm glad I wanted to learn something else, something that not a lot of people speak. It's like being part of like a little club, I guess, because if you understand Scandinavian culture, if you ever hear someone speaking like Danish or Swedish or Norwegian in the streets, you automatically can go up to them and talk to them about anything and joke about stuff. I mean, just there's not very many people there. Like maybe if you included all the Nordic countries, there's 30 million. So 5 million in Norway, about 10 in Sweden, I think 6 in Denmark, 300,000 in Iceland, and Finland. I'll give them a 6. I'm not too sure. The other one. So that's 22, 27. Yeah, about 30 million. So I don't know. I enjoy it. I enjoy Norwegian culture, and I enjoyed learning the language. And it's actually a pretty easy language to learn. If you speak English, you can say at least 900 words in Norwegian, because, well, basically, my ancestors raped the UK and raped the English language at the same time. Uh, yeah, it's also like it's kind of a beautiful language in the same way. It's very sing-songy, and it's very unique because in Norway, every town speaks it a different way. They have the same writing system, so everybody can read the same thing, but people have different words for different things, or say words different ways, or have different endings on words, or it's very unique. So like if you talk to someone from a really small town, they could be the last person of their generation speaking like a basically a dialect that has been around for 1,000 years. It's kind of like a little. It's like a time capsule. Whenever you talk to someone, and they all speak different. It's not only are you meeting a new person, you're basically hearing a new language at the same time. It's so much more different than an accent because they all have different accents, but they also say different like they have like a lot of different words. I mean, like, a lot. Like, it, it's so, and like the rhythm of the way they speak is different too, depending on where they come from. And then if you live in between two big dialect hubs, you can see like the mixture of the two. It's like it's really cool. But I mean, it's for something so small. There's a lot of like really interesting things inside of it. And Norway doesn't play that big of a role on the world stage, but no, it's they're good people, and they have an interesting culture. Nah. It's not a very useful language. But I don't really think that's the point of learning it. I mean, I can maybe speak. There's maybe. So I can speak with Swedish and Norwegian, so that's 15 million. And maybe I'll say maybe there's 1 more million people around the world who I could speak to. In the United States, Canada, maybe Norwegians who have immigrated to some other country. Or some other people from like China or something who for some reason have learned it. So just about like 17 million people I could really talk to. And then I could read Danish, so I can read newspapers in Iceland and in Denmark and in Norway, I guess. But it's, I don't know, it's kind of fun. You can say stuff. I mean, like, people don't know what you're saying. It's really ambiguous, and you can just have fun with it. You can curse and say a lot of bad stuff, and nobody will know what you're saying. Yeah. I'm glad I learned it, and I don't regret it. And I hope more people learn it too. And I hope that Norway preserves to whatever extent they can, like their national identity. Or to, like, in the sense that they don't forget their history, but all move forward together collectively. And they still will and that they would still value the dialects from the places, not turn into Sweden where they basically just force everyone to speak one dialect. Yeah.